Welcome to the Protect All Life podcast. I am your host, Claudia Green, and we are here today because the world is in need of some common sense solutions. I think a lot of us know that we are living in a way that is very destructive, not only to the earth, but to us because we're part of the earth. And we just cannot go on like this. We know there's a better way. We need to come together and find those better ways. It makes me so sad to see all of how lost and disconnected we are from each other, from the earth, from life. And it doesn't have to be that way. I know that. I think a lot of us know that, but we're stuck in these systems that don't serve us, that are not good for anyone or anything. And it's time for a change. So, this podcast is intended to be a place where we can come together and share those ideas because everything starts with an idea. If you look around at every man made thing in your world, whether that be your house, your car, the chair you're sitting in, your table, the clothes you're wearing, it started as an idea in somebody's mind. And I really believe in the power of imagination. I know that we have a lot of ideas. We just need to put some power behind them. We need to organize. We need to get them out there. And so let's amplify them here. I know that a lot of us want to live better. We want a more peaceful world. We want more understanding, more kindness. We want systems that work for us, systems that make sense for humans. And I know that we have some damn good ideas because I see them every day on social media. And so I want to bring them together. I want to connect people. I want to connect ideas. And I want this to be a place where things can take root and grow for the benefit of all of us and for the benefit of all life. So, why is it called the Protect All Life podcast? Great question. So, for many years, I've been studying Native American cultures. And before that, before I was studying them, I always had a sense that there's something here that is so right, that's so wise, but I couldn't put my finger on it. And my stepson is Chumash from the Chumash tribe in Southern California. We were visiting his traditional tribal lands last spring, and I picked up a book from an elder clan mother, Pilula Kus, I think is how you say your last name. It's called Earth Wisdom. Great book. Everyone should read it. And I prior to reading her book, I had read many books by Native American authors and about Native American cultures and Native American wisdom systems and ways of life. And I knew that they believed that we are one with nature. I knew that. But it wasn't until I got to the end of Palula's book where she was making this point at kind of as her conclusion, at like tying it all in a bow, that I felt it. And I understood what she meant, what Native people have always known and believed. She was explaining, that Native Americans don't fight for the rights of the earth. They don't fight to protect the land for any kind of selfish reason or for personal gain, but because they are the land. They're fighting to protect themselves because they understand that, you know, it's a part of them. And it moved me to tears, and I realized, if we approach the world, if we approach life through the lens of protecting all life, from big to small, from these giant redwood trees around me to the little spiders I find in my bathroom, then things are right. If we care about all life, then things will right themselves. No piece can be discarded without discarding the whole. And so I want to have conversations about how do we protect all of this, not just protect a few or some or those that we deem beautiful or parts of the world that we deem beautiful. No part of the world should be excavated and mined and pillaged and destroyed. And I think that there's a metaphor in there for the human and the way that we might cherry pick parts of ourselves that we like and that we might cultivate to be more beautiful and presentable and show to the world. But then we all have our shadows that we hide and we judge, and where we let ugliness live. I think that the problems that we're facing really can be encompassed in that metaphor, where how we treat the earth is how we're treating ourselves. And it starts with ourselves for sure. But we need to look at the bigger system as well. We need to understand what we're doing from in the bigger picture. I know a lot of people that I feel are doing this work that have really valuable voices that deserve to be heard and amplified. And I think that they're not getting the airtime they deserve. And so I want to give it to them, and I want to have conversations with them, and I want this to be a place where they can come and you can listen and we can all grow these ideas together. So this will be an interview podcast. We're going to foster conversations that help people imagine new ways to preserve, protect, and love the natural world. And we're going to build a long-lasting world of understanding, collaboration, and integrity. So if you are down for that, then you're in the right place. Keep coming back for more. One thing that I plan to ask all of my guests is, what do you think the biggest problem we're facing today is? Because I'd like to focus. I'd like each episode to focus, and I'd like us to all focus our minds. There are a lot of things, and when I think about them, I get very overwhelmed and disheartened. But I think if we can hone in particular areas and, bite-sized episode pieces, it can feel more manageable. And I think everybody has, a unique perspective and brings a unique perspective to that. And so I'm going to tell you today what I think the biggest problem we're facing is. And that is that we have a power issue. That's two parts. That is the people in charge, those people. That is, I'm sorry, it's three parts. That's the people in charge. And then it's how we power the world. And then it's how we power ourselves. I think the people in power is pretty obvious. I think a lot of us, if you're listening to this, you probably already have figured that out. Powering the world, powering ourselves. Oil, powering the world is a huge problem. And I don't think the solution is batteries. I think that there are other ways that this could be happening. I think we have the technology, and I think that it's suppressed because there is a lot of interest in keeping the oil money flowing. And so I think that we're going to have a reckoning with power, that kind of power, that branch of power, coming in the next couple of years. I think, especially in America, we have such an issue with our bodies and our health, and how we power our bodies. That's a power issue. I think that we have intentionally been robbed of our power in many ways, our psychological powers and our physical powers. Just having enough energy to get through the day, having enough energy to deal with these systems that are designed to break you down so that you can't deal and you don't have energy. They're designed to take the energy out of you. I think one of the greatest tools we have for standing up to the evils of this day and age are taking good care of ourselves so that we have the energy to persist. And I will be candid that I am coming out of, I guess, crunchy land, and I feel like I've turned a lot of stones over. And what I've really come back to is that life is about enjoyment. We're here to enjoy life, and enjoyment gives you energy. I really think that it's not what you eat, it's what you believe about what you eat. It's not what you do, it's what you believe about what you do. So much of life starts in the mind. Like I was saying, imagining ideas, making them come to life. You imagine your life in your mind, and your emotions are a vehicle for that. And your emotional reality is your reality. And I think that the powers that be know that. And I think We're manipulated by using our emotions. Your emotional health is derived largely from your physical health. It's derived from the things that you are doing every day, the way that you take care of yourself. And so that is really the foundation for having the personal power to stand up in this world with all of these power issues going on. I think an emotionally conscious world would be a better place for everyone. I think it should be taken into account how everything would make a human being feel. And I know people will call me a snowflake for that, and I don't mean it in like a, oh, I need to be coddled type of way, but I think systems that are unfair shouldn't be allowed to exist because they're not right. Um, and, I think that's important because we derive energy from our emotions, and the powers that be, governments, corporations, they know this. I think they have a much deeper psychological understanding of us than we do of ourselves. And they use that against us. And so I encourage everybody to take control of their emotional health as well, and be careful about the things that you consume and notice the way that things affect you. I hope that this podcast can be a positive place for you. I know that when I am looking for something to listen to, I often it's so hard to find something because I'm like, I just don't want to listen to garbage. I'd rather listen to nothing than take in like a bunch of BS or marketing dribble or negativity or someone's opinion that I really don't agree with just for the sake of being entertained. I think we need to get more comfortable with silence. And honestly, guys, the silence is where the good stuff's at. Like, you have so much wisdom in your mind that can't come forth if you don't just sit and let it come. And to do that, you have to be comfortable sitting in silence. I will also say, I think one thing that's hard for me to do in this place where we are is accept how bad the world is. There's a lot of times that I open Instagram and then I close it again because I'm like, wow, this news is terrible and I don't want to be informed. Um, but the place of acceptance is such a powerful place. It's how I got myself out of an eating disorder. For example, I was like, okay, I accept that I'm just fat now. And I can live with that. And then I stopped obsessing over what I was eating, and then I just figured it out from there. Like, okay, well, just eat some good stuff. Body's gonna mellow out. So that's just one example. That's not the deepest example, but it does work. Coming from a place of acceptance. So I think step one is awareness and acceptance of like what is going on today, the world we're living in, how bad these problems are, and then from there we can move forward and we can build something new. And I see a lot of people a lot of Native people posting on Instagram, which I love, when they say don't confuse the fall of colonialism with the end of the world. I think it's true. I think we're building a new world. I think things are falling apart so that new things can grow out of them. I hope things will fall apart and fall together. I hope there will not be too much destruction as all this SHIT hits the fan. But it definitely is a scary time, which is why I'm here. It's not the end, though. It's just the end of what we know. And what we know is not good. It has not been good. It has not served us. And I don't think we even realize the extent to which how bad it is. I don't think a lot of us in the US even realize the extent to which we are disconnected from ourselves, from the birthright of living with this beautiful land. It's hard to imagine if you don't know how much better it could be. But I think a lot of people are waking up. I think a lot of us are realizing, and I think together we can create a better world. And so that's why we're here, and I hope you'll stick around for more. Thank you so much for listening if you got all the way through this.